there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. There's a lot of Houdinis out there. There's some big name shops that I'm not going to name, even though I want to, that are smoke and mirrors. That by the time you get in there and you give them your money, you realize, oh, I've been duped, I've been bamboozled, and it's too late. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Battered Mechanic Podcast. I am your host, Erik Bentley. I got a real doozy for you today. Episode 5 is going to be great. It's actually from the standpoint of a customer this time, right? So we've past episodes talked about the standpoint of and the position of a shop owner. Today we're actually going to talk about customers and what the customers out there should be doing to choose the right shop. Before we dive into episode 5, I want to thank everybody for following this podcast, subscribing. We've had great reviews thus far. You can not only see this podcast here on the YouTube channel, but you can also listen to the audio version on any of your preferred audio apps out there, podcast apps. So, right, if you don't want to look at my ugly face while I'm talking about whatever I'm talking about, you can certainly put me in your little earbuds there. You can work out when you're driving to work, whatever, and listen to what I have to say. So, thank you very much for everybody's feedback, both positive and negative comments. We enjoy all of it. If you have anything to comment on these videos, please put it below. That's what those comments are for, and I will answer them. And if it's something good enough, I'll actually talk about it on a future episode. I'd like to put an episode together on just people's comments on the videos that we've put out. This is the 5th episode. We have 4 before this. Hopefully you've seen all of them and you've commented and liked and helped to grow this podcast. So without further ado, let's dive into it. A big shout out to Pompano Beach Fire Rescue. I am wearing their hat because I do work for them, so I have that right. If you guys have any hats out there, by the way, if you're a business owner and you're watching this and you want me to give you a shout out, send me a hat. You can comment below and I'll give you our address. And if it's a nice hat, I'll wear it on the show and give you a shout. So, hey, can't hurt, right? So anyway, episode 5. Again, this episode is going to involve the customer this time. So you, John Q. Public, right? You're driving to work this morning and you're thinking, man, I'd really like to work on my car. Who could I take it to? Well, what this episode is going to revolve around is just that, and how to make the best decision on what shop to choose when you want to modify your vehicle. And this could be any vehicle, all right? This doesn't have to be specific to Corvettes, Camaros, things that we do, right? It's any vehicle, right? If you're going to modify your vehicle and you're not going to do it yourself, where do you go? And how do you choose the shop? Because there's so many out there, right? We've talked about this before. There's no barriers to entry. You want to open a shop, you can open a shop right now. You can be a YouTube mechanic. Go rent a bay, get a sign. You don't have to rent a bay. There's guys that do it in their backyards, but put up a sign and get a business card and start a Facebook page or whatever, and boom, you're in business. So as a consumer, how do you know, if the guy knows what he's doing? How do you decipher and weed through the guys that are real and the guys that aren't, right? And how do you avoid those pitfalls? Well, I'm going to talk about this today. I have a long list of tips that should help you choose the right shop. Now, of course, Florida High Performance is one of those, and I am the owner, so I'm a little biased. But if you're looking for any work on your late model GM performance vehicle truck, give me a shout. Holler at your boy. I'd be happy to guide you through the process, send you a quote. And anyway, so let's get right into it. Episode 5: Tips on selecting the right shop to build your car. Let's dive right into it, guys. Tip 1, right? And this is what's going to set the tone and set the precedence moving forward. Know what you want, all right? You're the customer. You're the owner of the car. You need to know exactly what it is that you're wanting to do. That's not to say that you have to know the entire process of how it's going to get done. That's where the shop owner or the manager or the technician comes in and sort of guides you, right? A good shop owner is going to do that. But you at least have to have an idea of what your goals are, what your budget is. That's a big one. Nobody ever knows what their budget is. You have a budget in mind. Is it $5,000? Is it $20,000? Is it $500? You need to know at least somewhat of an idea of what you want to spend. Otherwise, we, the shop owners, or the guys sending you the estimates, are going to have no idea where to start. So if you want to have a good experience in choosing the right shop, it actually begins with you. All right, so go online, do some research, go to car shows, join a car club of like-minded individuals who own the same vehicle that you do. Forums are really big, right? You can sort of go online, go on YouTube, like the Florida High Performance YouTube channel that you're watching this on right now. watch our videos. You might have a Z06 Corvette and have no idea what to do. Well, go watch the videos that we put out. They explain to you what you can do in detail. The cost, the procedure, how long it takes, the parts we use, the results, the game, right? Do some homework on your end. It's going to make my job a lot easier. It's going to make your experience a lot easier, but nobody does it. I cannot tell you how many people call me and they're like, yeah, I want to work on my Corvette. Okay. What's your power goal? I don't really know. All right. Well, what's your budget? I don't really know. All right. Well, it's $25,000. I mean, you have to have some sort of goal and idea. Once you have that formulated, general idea, you can then go to a shop and present them with that idea. And if they're professional and they know what they're doing and they follow my tips and my tricks that I've talked about in other episodes in this podcast, then the process should be very smooth from that point on, and very fun and very exciting all the way to getting the car done and delivered and you're driving it down the road. Okay, so it starts with you. Have clear and concise goals. Those goals can change, and you may not know everything, but have an idea. All right, once you do that, first thing you're going to want to do is do some research on the company and read the reviews and see what kind of results they provide other people and what their track record is. If you go to a shop's website and they have nothing posted on their website about anything they've done, if the website is from 1990 and was created on a potato, then most likely that's how they're running their operation. Now, this isn't always the case. I realize there's some guys who are really good at what they do and they just haven't had time or the money or whatever to put into their website or their online presence. Well, that's on them. That's unfortunate. They're really missing out. We talked about this in episode 4 about setting expectations, setting the tone. That's on them. They're not doing a good job of that. So, but follow your gut. Right? If you go on a guy's website and he's got no experience or hasn't been doing this very long, or they don't have anything on social media, sort of be wary of that. I think any modern performance shop nowadays is going to have some sort of presence online. Okay, so results speak for themselves. If it's a guy that's building these cars and they're making tons of power and people are happy and they're at the track all the time or out in the street all the time and they're at events all the time and people are saying good things, that's probably a good indication that that's somebody you at least want to contact and go from there. Don't fall for smoke and mirror tactics. I talk about smoke and mirrors all the time. This is a big one in this business where you got these Harry Houdinis out there, the car business, who, they dazzle you with all this BS and, fancy marketing and fancy website and big shiny shop with the shiny floors. But that's a facade. Behind it is nothing but shit. Okay. And that happens a lot in this business. Guys hide behind that. And then by the time you've given them money and you've gotten the car in the shop, you realize that at the end of the experience, it's shit. Right. So it's hard sometimes to decipher what is smoke and mirrors and what isn't. That sort of goes back to that, trust your gut and read reviews kind of thing. If the shop is super nice, but they have a, 3.5 star rating on Google, and a large majority of the people are saying, this guy sucks, he's a dick, whatever, you sort of should trust that. I'm not saying put all your eggs into that basket. Sometimes people give negative reviews, and it's unfortunate. A really good business could have 1 or 2 negative reviews that sort of stain that. But so you take it with a grain of salt. But there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. There's a lot of Houdinis out there. There's some big name shops that I'm not going to name, even though I want to, that are smoke and mirrors, that by the time you get in there and you give them your money, you realize, oh, I've been duped, I've been bamboozled, and it's too late. So avoid the smoke and mirrors if you can. That all goes back to trusting your gut and reading those reviews, talking to people, things like that. Sort of plays into that. Reviews are important, but may not tell the whole story. I just touched on this. A shop might have a really good 4.8, 4.7 star reviews on Google, right? And you're scrolling through and you look at that one negative the guy says. This guy sucks. He had my car for 12 years, blah, blah, blah. Not recommended, don't take your car here. Read it, certainly think about it, but that may not tell the whole story. First of all, this is a very imperfect business. Okay, so as a consumer, right, you're watching this video or you're trying to choose the shop, just understand that just by default, this business is a pain in the ass. Building performance cars is not a perfected science at all. All right. If you've been to a NASCAR race, right, 30, 40 cars start and you got 10 at the end. Why? Because half the engines didn't make it. And those are engines that are built by the best of the best engine builders and scientists and mechanics and, engineers that you could possibly, money could buy, right? It's just an inherent risk of this business. Things break, things fail. There's things that happen. So sort of keep that in mind that, you may run across a shop with some negative reviews, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Well, maybe that person's just disgruntled. Maybe they're a psychopath. Maybe they're never happy. I have customers, despite our best efforts, they're just never going to be happy. They're just unhappy people, right? They have shitty lives. They're not happy at work, or they're not happy at home, and then they're not happy with their car, and they're looking for something, and they think maybe the car is going to fix all their problems, and it doesn't. There's nothing you can do about that, right? As a shop owner. So that guy might leave a negative review, but consider maybe that person in that particular instance, and maybe that's not the expectation or the experience that you're going to have. So reviews are important, but know that there's sometimes a backstory. Is two sides of every story, and then the truth, right? So just keep that in mind as a customer that's reading those reviews. Word of mouth, it's hard to beat, and it carries the most value. Bottom line, guys, you go to a car show and you're standing there with your buddies, and the large majority of people there are saying good things about a particular shop. That's probably because it's a good shop. Word of mouth is super powerful. Florida High Performance relies mainly on word of mouth advertising. Yeah, we do some paid ads. Yes, we spend a lot of money on our social presence, social media, YouTube channel, things like that. Yes, of course, we're building a brand. That's a necessity. But at the end of the day, I would say 7 out of 10 clients who come through my front door or who call me were referred by somebody else. It's very powerful. You've heard, if you have a good experience, you'll tell a few people. If you have a bad experience, you're going to tell the whole world. Well, that's how powerful word of mouth is. It's real. So if people are saying good things, if you're hearing a particular shop's name over and over and over and over again, it's probably because they're good and they know what they're doing. Do your own research, right? This person over here might have had a good experience because maybe they get along with the person or whatever the case is, but maybe you won't based off whatever their, records are or whatever their philosophies are or the owners, whatever. So, always do your own research, but word of mouth is very powerful. Trust it. If people are saying good things about a particular shop, it's probably because it's true. I've talked about this already, but trusting your gut. If you walk into a shop and the place is a dump, it's probably because it's a dump, right? If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, goddammit. If the guy answers the phone and he's like, yeah, what up? That's probably not a good sign. Again, not everybody is perfect, and I certainly am not. I'm human. So you consider those things. But if you're starting to interact with a particular shop or a shop owner or a technician, and your gut keeps telling you, that little voice in the back of your head keeps telling you this is probably not the best place for me, or I really don't like this guy, or he's kind of a dick, or, this place is a mess, or whatever it is, trust that, right? That's your intuition. That's your conscience telling you probably shouldn't bring your car here. Don't fall for the smoke and mirrors. If the shop's super nice, but the shop owner's nowhere to be found, or the communication's really bad, or there's a piece of the puzzle that's missing from what it is that you're looking for out of that particular shop, trust your gut. Don't take your car there. It's probably not a good thing. All right. So trusting your gut's very powerful, right? Just like word of mouth, very powerful. Trust your own intuition as well. This is a big one that nobody ever thinks of. I actually tell this to my customers, or at least potential customers who call Florida High Performance looking for a quote or some information on their build. It's funny. It sounds like JFK. Ask not what your country can do for you. What can this shop do for me if something goes wrong? Right? It's so easy when everything goes correctly. It's so easy. Everybody's happy. Everybody gets paid. The car's great. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful, right? That's easy. Anybody can do that. What if it doesn't go like that? What if you spend a lot of money on your build and something breaks or something goes wrong or it's not meeting your expectation or whatever the case is? Can you pick up the phone and actually talk to the shop owner? Can you talk to the technician who did the work? Do you feel comfortable walking back into that facility knowing that you're going to get some sort of support? Or is that little voice in the back of your head saying, man, I really hope nothing goes wrong with my car because this guy, psycho. right? So many people focus on the positives, the positive reviews, what if everything goes right. You have to actually approach it from the other standpoint of, if something goes wrong, because it will, inevitably something will come up. Do I trust this guy enough, or this girl enough, or this business enough to actually bring the car back and have them fix it? Are they going to do that? What's their warranty like? What sort of paperwork and service agreement have we signed and agreed on? Do I feel comfortable with that? Is it all on me? These are all questions you should be asking yourself. And if you're not getting those answers, it's probably a bad sign. A legitimate business is going to have policies and procedures in place to not only protect themselves, but to protect you as well, to set standards. We talk about this in episode 4 as well, right? They should be setting the standard and the expectation so that there's no question in your mind as the consumer that this is who you want to deal with, right? So if something goes wrong, that's a big one that everybody overlooks. Guys, if you're looking for a shop, ask yourself that question. Okay, very important. Pricing is least important of all the factors. As crazy as it may sound and as loopy as it may seem, pricing should be one of the least important factors when you're choosing a shop. Yes, it's important. Yes, you have to consider your budget, but this is a luxury, guys. Okay, the performance, the aftermarket business that we're all in here, that you want to be a part of, it's a need, not a want. Do not price shop. Okay, we're not going to Publix, our local grocery store here, shopping for the cheapest can of corn, okay, to make our, quesadillas later on. This is very important stuff. It's very expensive. Your car is expensive. This is a big investment, right? Do not shop based off price. That's a huge mistake that consumers make. They're looking for the cheapest guy in town. I got a sign that's over my door when you walk into the shop. It says cheap, fast, and good. Right? Cheap, fast, and good. You can only have 2 of those things, people. You cannot have all 3 of those things. Right? If it's cheap and fast, it's not going to be good. If it's good and cheap, it's not going to be fast. Right? And if it's fast and it's good, well, guess what? It's not going to be cheap, is it? So, and I'm telling you right now, it's the truth. That's the cheap, fast, good is the truth when it comes to this business. Again, you should have a budget in mind. We talked about this at the beginning, right? So you should have a budget in your mind of what you can afford. But if you can't afford it and you really want to deal with a particular shop, don't do the job. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find somebody who's cheaper. Well, they're cheaper for a reason. They're either not a legitimate business, right? The guy's doing it in the back of his house. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's, I don't think, what you're after if you're looking for a professional shop. They aren't qualified, or they don't know how to run a business. So they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So inevitably, if they're cheaper and they're not charging enough money, then they don't have enough money to keep the business afloat. So what's going to happen there? Well, they're going to take your money and they're going to use it to go to the titty bar on Friday, or they're going to use it to pay for somebody else's bill, or whatever the case is. And that's a recipe for disaster. Again, not mentioning names, but recently a shop in Texas that works on Lamborghinis and stuff like that. You may have seen this on social media. Basically the guy, another shop, and then the dude whose car was at this shop went to this facility. The guy's Lamborghini's sitting there in a lift. There's no motor in it. There's none of the work he's paid for has been done. He has no parts. The shop owner is asking him to get out of the shop. No cameras allowed. Crazy mess, right? That's bad. I think it was like $150,000 of stuff was missing. Anyway, it was all over the internet. Maybe the price was too good to be true. Maybe he went to the shop and it was the smoke and mirrors thing. I guarantee you, before this guy dropped his Lamborghini off at that particular shop, one of those pieces of the puzzle were missing. And either he looked past it because he was excited, or he didn't use his intuition, or he didn't listen to his gut, or whatever the case is. And now we have this mess. Right now they have this mess on their hands, and that's a bad one. That's sometimes you're going to lose money. It's a mess. So, sometimes go with the most expensive guy. You know what I mean? We're not cheap either, but you get what you pay for. And we feel like we provide the best list of parts when we build our vehicles at Florida High Performance. So if you're basing your decision off price, you're going to lose every time. All right. Quality is a big one, right? So if you're going to shop on something, shop on quality and reputation. all right, and what it is that you're looking for. Be wary of shops who have poor communication. Poor communication is one of the most common things that we hear about when customers call us. They've contacted other shops. They never hear anything back from them. They don't get an email back or a phone call. That's like one of the golden rules. I've talked about this in, I think it was episode 2, about calling people back. If a shop owner doesn't call you back, don't go there. If they obviously either don't have their shit together or they don't care enough to call you back or whatever the case is, that's a huge red flag. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you've tried maybe once or twice to get in touch with this person and their communication sucks, everything else is going to suck after that, guaranteed. You're not going to have some awesome shop who's super successful and everything's great who doesn't call you back. Okay? A good shop that's got their shit together, that has procedures in place to follow up with customers in a timely fashion, they will follow up with you. Okay? So poor communication, that's strike 3 right off the bat for me. I'm out. All right? Be wary of shops who do not provide documentation. We talked about documentation in the previous episode. If you go to a shop and you're dropping your car off and that guy doesn't have a pretty thorough service agreement, or he hasn't already sent it to you ahead of time, or he's not documenting things, or he's not having you sign stuff, that means that he doesn't care about his business. That means he doesn't care about you. That means he's really in it for the quick money grab, and he's not prepared for things to happen, whether they're good or bad or sideways. That's a lack of preparation on his part as a shop owner. That's a major red flag. Any legitimate automotive shop, whether it's an aftermarket performance shop or a service shop, will have some sort of a service agreement. Everything will be in writing up front. They will provide you an estimate if possible, or at least their labor rate. That will all be agreed upon long before that car gets dropped off. This is a standard procedure in this business. If that's not occurring when you're either talking about dropping your car off or dropping your car off, that's a huge red flag. Shame on you if you drop your car off, because I'm going to tell you right now, something's going to happen and it's going to be an absolute disaster afterwards. So be wary of shops, A, who don't communicate very well, and B, don't provide any sort of documentation to cover your ass and their ass. That's a huge one. Last but not least, and this is a saying really in life in general, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If the price is right and the place is right and everything is great and nothing is bad and everything is just everything, the guy's either bullshitting you, looking to try to get your money and that quick money grab, like I said before, or he's giving you unrealistic expectations. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how long you've been doing this. I'm here to tell you, shit's going to go wrong. Anybody that owns a performance car out there, me included, I know Jared and some of the other guys that I roll with, we're working little bugs out in our cars. Like, that's just part of the business. I don't care who builds it, who does it. Like, you're going to have things pop up. If this guy is selling you a bill of goods in this dream that's so unrealistic that it just, something doesn't sound right, it's because it is. It's either, like I said, he's full of shit, doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just trying to get your money and get you in the door, and then he's going to tie your job up and he's never going to see you again. Or you're never going to see your car again. It becomes a big mess. So this all sort of goes back to trusting your gut. Guys, trust your gut. Set expectations with the shop owner. They should do the same thing in return. If you follow these steps that I just outlined, as basic as they may seem, they're often overlooked because people are clouded. Their judgment is clouded by excitement. They really want to get the car done and they look past these things. Don't do that. Okay. You're going to do yourself a disservice. You're going to get screwed. Excuse me. And then you're going to be that guy on Google giving the 1-star review, which really sucks. It's going to ruin your taste for the aftermarket stuff that we do. It's going to ruin your experience. You're never going to want to do this again. You're going to tell everybody how bad it was and how much it sucks. And you're going to be that guy walking around at a car show that's just, cursing everybody and it's just got your head down between your legs. So follow these steps, consumers. Okay, this one's for you today. And I think you'll be just fine. Guys, if you found any value in the content that I've provided today, please comment below. Make sure you like and make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm making this podcast on my own dime, on my own time. It's not an inexpensive endeavor by any means, but I really feel the need to put this information out there. This business is so weird and wacky. This industry is really the Wild West. I was talking to one of my buddies today who's also in this business. He's a fabricator. It's the Wild West, and nothing but cowboys and Indians out here, man. And you really got to do your diligence and really do your homework before you dive into this and know full well what you're getting into. Follow this list, follow these tips, and you're going to be about 90% of the way there. And then the rest of it, you just got to hope that it goes well, and usually it does. But and then, of course, always remember, no matter what you do, all right, it's never easy. It's always hard. Guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please hit me up. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.